Okay, well, this is Stacey Arrington, and I am on the phone with Geoff Tate of Queensryche. Queensryche has a show coming up at the 9:30 Club on August the 9th. Geoff, we're running a contest, and we had some of your fans send in questions, and we're hoping that you will be able to select the winner by what you think is the most unique question being asked of you today.
Okay, sure.
The first question is from Joel. He said, were you always this vocally talented, or did it take a lot of work?
Well, I think I was born with, a fairly wide vocal range, and but then I did a lot of work, to strengthen my voice. Over the years, I had to learn how to sing properly in order to be able to make it through a show, without losing my voice. And so I did that study with a voice teacher, a pretty famous guy named David Kyle, who was originally out of New York, and then relocated to Seattle, which is where I met him, and was very inspirational to me as a mentor and a teacher, and really taught me the basics of voice control and breathing and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I've been born with a talent, and then worked very hard to perfect it and to make it strong so that I could continue doing it as a career.
How long did you have a vocal coach before you actually went out on stage?
Well, I kind of did both at the same time.
Right.
The studio with him, and then taking what I learned, to the stage in the evening, to put it to work, so to speak.
Okay. The next question is from Chris, and he wants to know, if you weren't with Queensryche and you could be the singer for any group throughout history, which band would it be and why?
I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I'm very fortunate. I found a wonderful group of people to work with, and for the last 30 years we've been creating and making music and traveling the world playing it for people. So I feel very fortunate being where I'm at and singing songs that I wrote with a bunch of great people.
That's an awesome answer. The next one is from Sarah. And she wants to know if there was any style of music that you wish you could sing but don't feel that your voice is compatible with?
Well, I've always said when I grow up I'm going to be an opera singer. So maybe, by the time I'm old enough, to quit rock music, I'll go into that maybe and see if that works.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to see that you have a sense of humor about that. The next question is from Chris. Over the course of your career in music, who have been your primary musical influences during each phase, and how have they impacted your music?
Well, I think probably the initial introduction to music is one that's very important to most musicians, and definitely was for me. And mine was really a simple act. I received a transistor radio for my 9th birthday, and that really opened up my ears to all kinds of different music. I was tuning into radio stations, all over the place, and hearing all these wonderful songs, and it really, stoked my curiosity and got me really interested in music. So at that point, a few years later, I definitely was, searching out my own record store purchases, and exploring explore music. You didn't feel like, oh, I'm not listening to something that's considered cool, you know. So I guess I won't listen to that, you know.
Right.
I think so many kids experience that today. So you know, I think for me, I guess getting back to the question, the initial introduction to music was really the most important for me.
Okay. Since you brought up the music industry now, it's a little bit different, but how do you feel about the downloading process? Everybody's downloading music now as opposed to actually going out and buying the physical CD.
Yeah. Well, you really can't compare the music industry of today, 2011, with the music industry of, say, 1985. They're not even relatable. First off, the music downloading, the actual piracy aspect of it, where people download, you know, music for free, has completely gutted the industry. In fact, all the record companies are failing miserably now. They just can't make enough money, you know, to keep the industry going. So that's having huge changes on music, bands, artists. It affects, you know, the economy because the record industry employed, you know, thousands and thousands of people in a number of different capacities. So the times have really changed, and so you can't even, compare. Really, today there is no music industry. It's just a failing mechanism that's going to be probably gone away in the next 5 years, I would say, altogether. And music then will be either free for everyone, or some other sort of mechanism will have been invented to replace, you know, the mechanism of royalties, you know, that was in place. So, on one hand, it's incredibly frustrating time, and a lot of people are very bitter about, you know, losing their jobs, of course. And on the other hand, it's also a very exciting time because all the rules are changing. And for an artist or a band, it's incredibly freeing, and it's a feeling of independence that you have, because now you don't have to conform to a record company's ability to sell you. You know, you can invent whoever you and be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be part of the genre in order to be sold. So on that side of things, it's incredibly fascinating, you know, and exciting to be part of that and to watch what's happening right now.
Yeah, it is. It's got to be scary, though, too, wondering whether you're going to actually have a career, though, in 5-10 years.
Oh, yeah, even in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the bands that are just starting out now, it's a completely different situation for them now than it was for bands like Queensryche when we first started out. So I don't know how bands are going to have 30-year-long careers in the future. I don't see how it's going to happen at this point.
Okay, now following with that line too, what you were saying about the new bands of today, and how it's much different for them. I guess it is lucky for bands like Queensryche and some of the other bands that were popular in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, that they have their following built in now. They know who their fans are. They know their fans are going to support them and will seek out their music in some way.
Yeah, bands of that era, you know, have an audience. Yeah, well, bands nowadays just starting out, they haven't got an audience yet.
Right, right.
You know, there were two ways to get audiences, and that was through record sales and promotion, or touring. And now, of course, the record companies are falling apart, you know, miserably. So there's no money for promotion, and to tour, it costs, you know, an enormous amount of money to move your band and your crew across the country, or even across the state. So how do you have, you know, the economic capital to move your group, you know, from city to city to city without having an audience, you know?
Exactly.
How do you get an audience unless you travel and play your shows? So it's kind of a catch-22, you know?
Exactly. Are you going to write an album on this topic?
Perhaps.
I'd Mr. Tate. The next question is from Lisa. And she says, what do you think the most frequently used subliminal message in modern rock and roll songwriting is? And do you think that it has a major influence in the success of the song?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't know how subliminal it is, but there's always been this idea in the music industry that sex sells. And so I would say that that's probably it. You know, sexual innuendo, clever sexual innuendo is always sort of a popular thing with audiences. And it seems to be something that people gravitate towards and want to hear about, you know. So I would say it was the sexual connotations of a song that are perhaps the most powerful selling point.
It was such a complex question with such a simple answer.
Yeah, it really is. That question. So far, that's the winner. What was her name?
Lisa.
Lisa.
I kind of was gravitating there, too.
That is a question I've never, ever been asked. So that's the first for me.
Wow. The very last question is from Violet. And it's a very simple question, but I think it was a cool question. If you had the chance to go back in time and change anything in your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, I have no regrets. Yeah. I think the past is something that kind of holds us down, you know, and I try not to live there. I try to stay in the now as much as possible, not worry about the future so much, but to really appreciate and just keep my focus on the moment, you know. And really the whole band kind of practices that philosophy. We've never been a band that looks back, you know, at what we've done. We're always looking at what we're doing at the moment and focused on that.
Okay. This isn't a question, but I actually had a woman named Hillary, tell me that at the last Queensryche concert at the 930 Club, she actually fainted. She could not handle seeing you on stage, and I just told her I was going to tell you about that and get your comments on that. I guess, how do you feel when you hear that women are fainting at your feet?
Well, I hope she didn't get hurt. I've seen people faint before, and they just go down like a sack of rocks. So yeah, that can be kind of dangerous.
Right. And I'm also supposed to send you a message. Mike Brillhart from 97 Underground wanted me to tell you that the new album has been #1 all summer long.
Oh, good. That's wonderful.
I guess at this point, we will select a winner for the
Actually,
contest.
Lisa, probably that's a question for me.
Yeah. That was I pretty much thought when I had all the questions laid out in front of me that would be the winner. Well, Geoff, I appreciate you taking the time to call me this morning. And I will be seeing you again on the 9th.
Okay, well, I hope so. Nice talking with you.
It was nice talking to you.
Thanks for the interview. It was well thought out. Well done.
Thank you. Well, we're going to be doing a follow-up. As far as I know, we're doing a follow-up interview actually on the 9th.
Oh, okay, great.
So I'll see you again then.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.